hello there. Now, one of the things that we often talk about with leaders is, and it doesn't make any difference whether we're talking about inexperienced leaders who are starting their leadership journey or really experienced senior execs that I work with quite a lot. And this is about establishing yourself as a leader. And there's a couple of reasons we think why people let themselves down in this area. One is because they don't know about it. They've never thought about it. They don't know the behaviors that contribute to it and the behaviors that set it back. And the other reason is that some of the behaviors you need to do in order to establish yourself as a leader are quite challenging in terms of high performance, personal effectiveness areas. And that's why, even if I'm running a workshop with a senior executive team, focus primarily on getting them to work more effectively as a team, I'll always, most of the time, include some aspects of high performance personal effectiveness, because I know that if they're going to work effectively and become more effective leaders individually, it's really important that they establish themselves as a leader, and they're going to need those high performance personal effectiveness skills to do that. I'll give you an example. If you have a kind of drama queen approach to crisis management, in other words, someone comes in and says that they made a mistake or something's gone wrong or the project we're working on looks like it's not going to finish on time. If you're a kind of, shout and scream and, blame people and throw your arms in the air kind of person, that may give you a bit of relief from the pressure, I suppose, to some extent, if you can just let it out. But in terms of, organizational effectiveness for a start, it's a train wreck because people will stop coming to you. People will start hiding things. People will be more reluctant to come to you for advice, that kind of stuff. And if you find yourself saying, why hasn't anybody told me about this? Why didn't I know about this before? You may want to look in the mirror, just a thought. But in terms of establishing yourself as a leader, it's a nightmare because we all know, for instance, if you're on an aeroplane and something goes wrong, you don't want the pilot to be hysterical. You want the pilot to be calm, to be the calmest person on the whole plane, in fact. And when something goes wrong in your organization, people want you to be the calmest person in the room, to ask the right questions, to know what to say, what not to say, that kind of stuff. And some people don't know that. And, obviously that's something that we can help them with. But it's an interesting idea, and if nothing else from this video, just have a think about, when something goes wrong, are you the pilot or are you the hysterical passenger in the back? Now, there's plenty of other areas where you can establish yourself as a leader, and things going wrong is such a good example of how, by learning and choosing some different behaviors, you can actually come out of it. And your leadership brand, if you like, can come out of it a lot better, even though it's a negative example. But there's plenty of other opportunities. For instance, how and when and the style you adopt in terms of holding people accountable. We don't have time to talk about that, but there's many, many areas in your day as a leader where you can do little things here and there to establish yourself as a leader. You just got to know about them, I guess. Okay, interested to hear your thoughts.